his legacy shouldn't be a boxing match where he was TKO'd by the greatest boxer ever. That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I know.
His legacy should be the next fight after Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean.
Eddie Alvarez was a masterful performance.
He's been smashing beasts.
Yeah.
He's been taking 2 belts.
Yeah.
He's just a regular guy from Ireland. He comes to America and he just lives the American dream. He done things nobody's done before.
Yeah.
So it's terrible. It's terrible to see all this shit happen.
Yeah, because I'm saying that all these things that are happening, it's bad for him.
Yeah, of course.
It's not just bad for the sport to let him get away with it. It's
with all
bad
this
for
happening,
him.
with all this happening, you don't even think of what he's been doing in the octagon.
Right. Exactly. I mean, just think about setting him up with Khabib. Having that fight. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, that would be a giant fight. That might be one of the biggest MMA fights ever to make. Him versus Khabib?
Yeah, Khabib is, what's his record, 25-0?
26 now.
26-0.
26-0.
That's amazing.
And he's barely tested.
Yeah.
He barely gets tested.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You see one little flaw in him, you get all excited.
Yeah.
Because like, ooh, look, he's keeping his chin up.
Who do you think win that fight?
What's that?
Who do you think win that fight?
It's a good question. The question is, can Conor catch him? Can Conor catch him while he's coming in?
Yeah.
And if Conor can catch him, look, Conor can knock anybody out.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you see what he did to Eddie Alvarez. You see what he did to Aldo. Nobody had ever done that to Aldo before.
That's the best strikers in the division.
Yeah. And what Conor has is incredible precision and the ability
he's so fast.
So fast.
His speed, his angles, he moves, create an angle, and he just counter the shit out of the guys, and yeah, that's all he needs.
He also moves unusual. He moves almost like a karate guy.
Yeah, he does.
Like wide stance, but then knocks you out like a real pro boxer. Like
the only thing I'm doubting on Conor. Yeah, he's the best striker and all of that, but does he have the conditioning for Khabib?
That's a good question.
Khabib, he just keeps going. And
different animal.
Yeah.
And it's also the wrestling.
Yeah.
Like Khabib's wrestling is not just a level above everybody else, but multiple levels.
Yeah.
Like he just.
I heard like heavy guys. I'm talking about heavyweights talking about Khabib's pressure on the ground being on top.
Yeah. Yeah.
Taking that seat belt around, taking his hands, moving that leg up. Just neutrals the guy totally. So.
Luke Rockhold said he never loses a round in training.
Oh, he said?
He said he doesn't lose a round.
Yeah, Khabib.
Khabib doesn't lose a round. He just smashes everybody.
That's insane, man.
Everybody who wrestles with him are like, fuck, here we go. Time to go through the grinder.
Khabib is the most competent. However, Khabib sometimes is a slow starter. And he get punched a lot.
Michael Johnson.
Yes, he didn't look good in the beginning of the fight. And he's hard sometimes to close distance. You have a problem to close the distance. But once he got you in the clinch, he's very good. So I believe the odds goes on Khabib's favor, like maybe 60-40, I believe.
I love it. I love that Conor took this fight, because for Conor this is a very dangerous fight, and the reason I'm saying this is just look at the fight he had with Chad Mendes. Chad Mendes took him to the ground immediately. Well, Nurmagomedov is as good as a wrestler, maybe if not better. They're from Dagestan. They only got wrestlers. It's in their heart. It's everything. I mean, they grow up there. It's the culture. So, and this guy who never lost, we know Conor is the striker. He's the submission guy. He's also a striker, and he will have enough defense in order to take him down. If there comes a takedown, that could be big trouble for Conor McGregor. Now, I don't know what Conor has been doing in the meanwhile. But still, if you fight a guy whose father is one of the most famous trainers out there, and who started probably when he was 3 years old wrestling, you can't learn that in a year. Even if you train every day, yeah, you can stop some takedowns. But once the fight is there and punches have been throwing in, and little movements, little feints, it's very hard to stop the takedown. So for Conor to take this fight, for me, I think he has a puncher's chance. Now, the good thing for Conor is that he has incredible timing and incredible accuracy. So if he can land a punch, although Khabib has never been knocked out, but still, he's never been hit by McGregor. McGregor can hit really hard, as we know, because everybody he hits, he destroys. It's like they say in Rocky. It's simple. Thing he hits, he destroys. And so it's a big fight for him to stay away from the ground for 5 rounds. I look at the Nate Diaz fight as well. You see, once it goes to the ground, so it's a big chance he's taking. but I applaud him for it, because a lot of people thought that probably he was not going to take the fight, since the guy is such a good wrestler and wants to take this fight to the ground.
If right now we're putting money on it, my safe money's on Khabib. Do I think it's interesting for the fact that there's still that one, I mean, out of the 26 fights, that just shows you how good Khabib is. Out of 26 fights, I did see Michael Johnson land one straight left and it kind of hurt him.
Yeah.
And if Conor lands that same straight left, Khabib's going to go to sleep. You know what I mean? Like that left that Conor has, that straight left puts everybody
Power
on queer street.
and
you know?
lightning fast.
Well, maybe that's a knockout Khabib, but it's going to hurt him.
Yeah.
And that could really change the outcome of a round and cause some problems. That being said, but you got to think that Khabib knows that the straight left coming down the middle is the only shot that really Conor has to really win the fight and early. If that's a lot that Conor has to hope lines up. You know, if I was Khabib, just grind him at first round, avoid the just clinch him. Don't even take a shot. Clinch with him, walk him against the cage. You can make it ugly if you want. Grind him, because we know that Conor has those really high octane anaerobic type musculature, which allows him to be extremely powerful and quick, but he burns out. We've seen it in fights before where if he gets in those grinding fights, like he did in the second fight with Nate Diaz, in the third round, he was backpedaling. He looked like he was ready to fall on his face. And Nate Diaz can't put the same amount of pressure that Khabib can put on him, So if he thought that was bad, it's going to be worse. So, yeah, I think that it's going to be, it's a pretty, I think, safe bet to say that, it's a Khabib fight. Conor does have that one, that puncher's chance. If anybody has it, it's him.
But Khabib's main vulnerability for me in this fight is that he's got no footwork. He only knows forward. There's no idea of cutting off the octagon until he's actually got his hands on someone. So that's where Conor gets into this fight. He's very intelligent, like Nick said. He's going to be good at circling off and walking Khabib onto that left hand. I think this is going to be a very different version of Conor than we've ever seen. I think we're going to see a lot more lateral movement and more footwork. I think he's going to come in slightly lighter and better conditioned. And I think he's going to expect to be taken down at least a couple of times. But, going back to the point I made earlier, the quick turnaround of this fight to me tells me that he's thinking if he can get Khabib to be mainly focused on his weight cut for the fight and overconfident that he's going to be able to do what he always does, then Conor can predict what he's going to do when he actually gets in there and then set him up. And I think that, whether in an early storm is likely for Conor, I think he's probably going to have to maybe even get out the first round, get back to his feet a couple of times. But I think he'll find a place for that left hand at some point, maybe late second, early third. And I think Khabib will walk onto it. And we've seen him slow down in the Ali Quinter fight. First time we've seen him do 5 rounds. Yep. He did slow down. There were points where you start thinking to yourself, if he was fighting Conor here and there was that sharp left hand in the toolbox, he'd be in trouble.
Take him down, pressure on. Conor's good, but I think if you put pressure on Conor, he gasses. I think he's got a bit of. If he has got a downfall, I think his downfall's in the cardio department. But yeah, that's what I'd do. But I'd have to watch out for the left hand because I feel like if he plugs it on anyone, they're going to sleep.